In this lesson, we're going to cover the face tool utilized in a sheet metal environment. We're going to start off by creating a new sheet metal part. From the English tab, I'm going to go ahead and select on sheetmetalinch.ipt. And we're going to start off, like most designs do, with a rectangle. And then we'll go ahead and we'll place a couple dimensions on there. So in this case, let's make it 5 by 3. And I'm going to switch to an isometric view. And now I'm going to return. And you'll notice in a sheet metal environment, I'm returned immediately to the sheet metal features. I'm not returned to the part feature. So even though we can go back and do our extrudes and revolves, what we want to do in a sheet metal environment is really utilize sheet metal tools. So I'm going to switch back to the sheet metal features panel. And you see I really only have a couple options at this point. I can't go back and remove or add material to something that doesn't exist. So we're going to start off by creating a face. And you can see that the rectangle was automatically selected since it's our only closed profile. I can offset its direction either to be positive or negative. And really, since this is the very first feature, there really are no options under the unfold or bend that are going to affect this flat. So let's go ahead and just click OK. And now let's experiment around a little bit what we can do with the face tool beyond the first feature. I'm going to make the front plane the active sketch. And let's use the look at tool and we'll look straight onto that plane. So what I'm going to start off with is I'm just going to draw in a rectangle. And again, we could place some dimensions on this if we wanted to. So I could say that it's going to be 2 inches high by 3 inches long. And then of course we could come back off of this edge and say how long do we want it off of there. In this case, let's place it at 1 inch. I'm just going to spin my view around. I'm going to click on the return tool. Let's exit out of our sketch environment. And again, I'm going to use the face tool because what I want to do is I want to turn this into a sheet metal part that has bends. So the profile is going to be our rectangle. And if I spin the screen around here a little bit, you can see that if I go back and modify the offset, it's determining which direction that's going to go. So now at this point, I can go back under the unfold options if I want to go back and designate how that's going to unfold. Under the bend, we can set how is the shape for the internal side going to actually look. So let's start off with a straight. And on the right hand side, this is where we can determine the size of that. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Now if I spin it around, you'll see that the outside face here is coplanar with this face because that's the way that we set it up to be. But we can go back and modify that. So in the sheet metal environment, it's no different than working in just regular standard parts. So at this point I could go back and just click on offset. As you can see, it has a dramatic change to our part. It's all depending upon how the sheet metal part is going to be used. Are you trying to hold the inside or the outside faces? Let's do one more example. I'm going to make this front face here the active sketch. And again, I'm going to use the look at tool. And what I'm going to start off by doing is just drawing in a couple line segments. And I'm going to create a disjointed body. And of course at this point we could go back and add some dimensions if you wanted to. But for this example I'm just going to leave it as it is. So let's rotate our screen around a little bit. And again, I'm going to click on the return tool. We'll exit out of the sketch environment. Click on face. Select our trapezoid. Now at this point I could go back and click OK, and I have a disjointed body. And Inventor does have tools to go back and join those together. It's called the bend tool. But in this case I'm going to undo that and show you another method. Again with the face tool, I'm going to select our trapezoid, but I have the option here to select an edge. And the edge that I'm going to select is going to be the edge that it's going to be joined to. So you can see that I have the preview showing what it's going to look like. So if I go ahead and click OK, you'll see that the feature has been created and Inventor has automatically taken those edges straight right down to the part. So let's go back and edit that one more time. We do have a second option that's available, is the Extend Bend Aligned to the Side Faces. So if I go ahead and click that, click OK, you'll see what Inventor did is it kept my angle lines going all the way down, but it's transitioning to where it was, back from the straight portion of the line segments that we drew. So let's look at one more option with the Face tool. I'm going to rotate my screen, so I'm going to look at the right side face. Again, I'm going to make that the active sketch. Let's use the Look At tool again. But let's say I really do want to have an angled edge on this, but I want it to be joining at that angle. So if you want to do that, what I would suggest doing is actually drawing it in on the angle that you want. So in this case, I just drew in 3 line segments because I'm going to utilize the existing edge down here to close that off. Of course, we could go back and place in dimensions, project edges to get your geometry locked in. So let's click on Return. Click on the Face tool. Select our face. Again, determine if it's going to go to the inside or to the outside. For this example, we'll take it to the outside. Go ahead and click OK. And you'll see that the face feature has been created. Let's take a quick look here at the bend options. So if I go back to the face and under the Bend tab, let's change the relief shape to round. Go ahead and click OK. And you'll see that our relief down here is now at a round. If I edit this one last time, under the bend is the minimum remnant. So if our geometry came very close to the outside edge here and there was just a little bit of material, that's what the minimum remnant is going to tell us. So if it is within that small range, Inventor is just going to cut it off. So let's go ahead and click OK. Since we're not very close to the edge, we're having that relief shape placed in.